If you grew up playing video games, you probably remember the excitement of rushing home after the final school bell rang. You'd turn on your console or PC and watch as your friends slowly come online one by one. Whether it was Call of Duty, Halo, or GTA Online, the game itself didn't matter. What mattered was the time spent together, free of responsibilities. Time would just slip away. Life was good. The fondest memories that I've had of this was the release of Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I had just graduated from high school and Black Ops 4 had just come out, a game that my friends and I had been dying to play, a game that we sunk hours in, grinding the multiplayer, researching on how to complete the zombies Easter eggs, and the newest inclusion, Blackout, the first battle royale in a Call of Duty title, something that my friends and I loved playing. Whatever we were playing, we would just be chatting our lives away, just talking about a whole lot of nothing and just losing ourselves in the moment. But as time passed, things started to change. University assignments and part-time jobs crept in, making those carefree gaming sessions rare. But then in 2020, the world hit pause, bringing an unexpected return to that feeling of free time. But this time, it was different. I had miraculously been able to get a Nintendo Switch, and a game that I had a new obsession with, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. A game that I got super hyped from watching competitive matches on YouTube, which ignited a spark in me to fall down the rabbit hole hard. I grinded Ultimate every day with my main of Byleth, practicing the combos, learning the matchups, searching up YouTube tutorials, looking up the frame data for each move. Even my friends would call me a sweat. And they weren't wrong. Each match had pressure to it because every match was ranked, whether you liked it or not. Winning felt like utter euphoria. Seeing the numbers on my rank go up, beating someone who would just non-stop teabag me, the feeling was amazing. But the opposite also applied. Whenever I lost, it felt like utter hell, especially if it was a close match where I thought I should have won, but choked and fumbled hard. I would get tilted even more to just lose, and keep losing. I think the best way to summarize this feeling is this tweet from Ludwig. You pour countless hours playing, grinding, but eventually you hit a wall, a point where no matter how much effort you put in, progress is just non-existent. Matches all just start to blend together. There were so many technical aspects with Smash that I would sink in so many hours to try and learn. And by locking in, putting in my blood, sweat, and tears in this game, I eventually reached Elite Smash with Byleth, the highest level of online play reserved for the top percentage of players. And for a moment I thought, I made it. I reached a goal and proved to myself that I was good at the game. But the emptiness eventually seeps in and you ask yourself, well, what now? After accomplishing any goal in life, you always start to ponder, what's next? Well, I could start learning new characters, and I tried it. Joker, Hero, Corrin, the list was endless, but no character was ever as fun. I kept finding excuses to shift the goalpost, convincing myself that if I just achieved the next milestone, the excitement would return. At first, the grind felt rewarding. You see improvement, you push past plateaus, and every session was a step forward. But over time, the excitement fades, and you're left chasing a feeling that no longer exists. And I'm sure most of you can relate to this feeling. There's nothing for you to prove. Your self-worth shouldn't be tied to a video game. I have over 600 hours in Smash, and to the competitive scene,
those are rookie numbers.
But it was enough for me to realize that I was chasing this dragon for long enough. Looking back, those gaming sessions weren't about winning or losing. They were about the friendships, the late night conversations I had with my friends, and the sense of belonging. There was something special about just getting together with your friends and just enjoying the experience. But over time, I started to feel like that sense of belonging was being replaced with grinding in ranked modes, keeping up with the season pass, or just feeling I had to perform well. Gaming became less about fun and more about meeting expectations. It's especially true for games that emphasize pure skill in a 1v1 format like Smash or Tekken. Your success is entirely on you, but in a team-based game, your success is on everyone. If I lost in Smash, at least I knew it was my own mistake. But what happens when it's not even in your own hands? That's the nightmare of team-based games like League of Legends or Marvel Rivals. Even if you play perfectly, an unskilled teammate's mistakes can essentially cost you the game, completely nullifying your own performance. It's extremely frustrating to see your own efforts being undermined by factors outside of your control, which, just like in all competitive games, you never want to finish on a loss. So the cycle continues until you realize it's past 4 AM and you can hear the birds chirping outside. When faced with this situation, you're compelled to play with friends, but let's face it, organizing a session with a group of friends is honestly a nightmare. Just imagine this. It's a Wednesday night. You and your friends plan to hop on League of Legends after dinner at around 8 p.m. for a few ranked games. Of course, when you log in at 8, none of your friends are online. 10, 20 minutes pass, and you might have 1 or 2 friends that jump on, but the rest are either occupied with something or just terrible at managing their time. Let's face it, we all have those friends. Hell, that friend is also us at times. One's coming back from the gym, another's still finishing dinner, one's still gooning, and by the time that everyone's online, it's close to 9 p.m. And you really can't afford to be playing that long because you have commitments for the following day. There are also days when you simply just don't want to play. Life gets in the way and you're just not in the mood. Yet, your group needs you to play. Regardless of your role, they rely on you rather than a potential random who could ruin the game for everyone. And now you find yourself feeling almost obligated to play. Committed even, as if it's another job. Another point I want to make is just the sheer barrier to entry for these online games. League of Legends, as of time of recording, there are 170 champions, which is just mind-boggling to me. As a new player, how am I supposed to choose who to play? Yes, they have the free champion rotation every week, but what am I supposed to do the week after the champion I like gets rotated out? The League community is also the most toxic gaming community I've ever encountered. The expectations of people when you're just trying to learn something is absurd. Not to mention the number of experienced players who create Smurf accounts. You might think you're in a beginner match, only to get absolutely demolished by someone who clearly has far more knowledge and skill than their rank suggests. Also, if you're exclusively on console, you're not just paying for games anymore. You're also paying just to access basic online features. Remember when it was free to play online games with the PlayStation 3? But then Sony saw that Microsoft was making dumb money with Xbox Live, so they followed suit with PSN Plus on the PS4. Then Nintendo joined in with the Switch, despite having some of the worst online servers in existence. So now, if I want to play the new Call of Duty, the real cost isn't $110. It's $110 plus a subscription fee that stacks up over time. That's why you'll see people stacking years of PSN Plus subscriptions, paying upfront for 20 plus years just to avoid the inevitable price hikes. Hell, I was so bummed out when my subscription expired before the release of the Elden Ring DLC because I knew I was going to be missing out on the player messages. Now, of course, player messages aren't a core component for Soulsborne games, but should a silly fun online feature like this really be paywalled off? Because I refuse to support this model, I'll likely miss out on Night Rain too. Now, I find myself exclusively playing single-player games that emphasize interesting characters and compelling stories. One thing that I can appreciate from playing Smash Bros. Is how it's an advertisement for the games and the characters they came from. Why should I play Cloud in Smash when I haven't even played Final Fantasy VII? It was playing the original Final Fantasy VII and the remakes that made me realize why I had fallen in love with gaming in the first place. It wasn't about grinding or hitting ranks. It was the stories, the characters, and the worlds that I could just lose myself in. Games like Final Fantasy VII reminded me of that. They weren't just about completing objectives or achieving a certain status. They offered a meaningful experience, something that stuck with me after I put the controller down. I was drawn to the way that these stories made me think, feel, and reflect on my own life. Each character had depth, each plot twist had weight, and by the end of the game, I felt like I had gained something. These were experiences I could carry with me, unlike the fleeting high of winning a match in an online game or just having a brain rot session of Shipment 24/7, seeing a barrage of kill medals on my screen. I'd say the 22 hours I spent playing Final Fantasy VII was a much better use of my time compared to the 600 hours I spent on Smash Bros. And when I think about the future, I have to ask myself, will I really get the same enjoyment playing through the next 10 seasons of League of Legends or playing the 2 Kingdom Come Deliverance games? While I don't want to demonize anyone's enjoyment for multiplayer games, everyone has different tastes. After all, I've come to the realization that they're just not for me anymore. Maybe I can turn off my brain and still enjoy the occasional match, and I'll admit, there's nothing quite like the adrenaline rush you get from clutching a close game, but I just can't bring myself to keep up with a season pass or daily quests for an online game just to be hit with FOMO. It's just exhausting. When I was younger, gaming was never about rankings or a kill-death ratio. It was about getting lost in new worlds, making memories with friends, and experiencing stories that stuck with me. Over time, that joy got buried under battle passes and competitive play. But I've realized something. I have nothing to prove, and neither do you. Gaming should be an enjoyment, not an obligation. So if you ever feel pressured to keep up or meet certain expectations, just know this. You have nothing to prove, and your self-worth is not tied to a video game.